Hey neighbor, listen, I was getting ready to breeze through this and I said, self, this is a conversation we should be having with our neighbors, okay? Canning based conversation. I had a few stone fruit left that were starting to go bad. This is one of the problems that I know a lot of our neighbors find when they want to start canning. They either see that the quantity is too big or it seems too involved, okay? Not here. We want to get that stuff on the shelf, so we are going to do it the simplest way possible. Oftentimes, when people are canning peaches, you will see them score them, blanch them, take the peels off before you're canning. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You do not have to remove the skin to can your stone fruit. It could go with the skin. Now, the reason why they say take their skin off is because sometimes your skin can get a little chewy, but it helps, it keeps its shape. So it's really a personal preference, and my preference is less time and less work. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to prep these. They've been cleaned, and I am just cutting them in half to remove the stone itself. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I probably cut that in half so I get quarters, but not too much work. Okay, so keep your skin on, cut in half. You can can the halves, take the stone out. I'm gonna get to that part, and then we're gonna get to the even more simple part of making syrups. Okay, let's do a few tips for when you're doing your fruit. Nikki, are you just doing one jar? Yes, that's what I have left. You do not always have to can large amounts. You can can something special just for you and the family. Also, when you're in the process of canning, if you go to cut your fruit and you see any mushy, about to go bad parts, we're not gonna can this, okay? Because it's already on its way out. This is gonna be chicken food. Any blemishes, any uh, animal bites, rotten pieces, any of that, we're going to discard that. We're not going to take the chance to put that in the jar. Now, in the peaches, I did end up cutting them in quarters, but the plums, I just cut in half. All right. Now, listen, another side note. When you get your pit or your stone out of your fruit and you save these, have you ever wondered why you haven't had success? This is just the coat. This is not the seed, okay? Now, I keep a good old heavy duty mallet so that I can crack open the case, and the actual seed is this part. Okay, so we don't have to store all of this. Sometimes I will store for long-term storage with them in their protective case, but this is a seed if you're trying to grow from the fruit that you're processing. Okay, we have our fruit in the jar. Now, how are we going to preserve this? Yes, we're making a simple syrup, a heavy syrup, a medium syrup, a light syrup. What is the difference? The difference is just the ratio, okay? So for your heavy syrup, it's 2 to 1 sugar. 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water, all right? Light syrup, the other way around, okay? 1 cup of sugar, 2 cups of water, all right? And just regular syrup is equal parts. 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water. Light syrup, regular syrup, heavy syrup. You got it? Okay. Now for this syrup in particular, because they're special, because there are only 1 jar of each, I have mixed sugars. So I have a third cup of brown, a third cup of raw, and a third cup of granular. Still 1 cup of sugar. And because I want regular syrup, we're adding, right, 1 cup of water. So measure this out. And we're not going to bring this to a boil. You just want this to be warm enough for your sugar to dissolve, because we're still going to be processing our fruit to make them shelf stable. Now, because we only have 2 jars, these have to be special. So I'm just going to add some special things right to the jar. I am very much a fan of vanilla. You know, I go through a lot of vanilla. These type of recipes where I'm putting vanilla straight into the jar, I love to use the vanilla splits. They're already broken up into pieces, and you can just throw them down into your jars. So I'm going to put a little bit more in the peach for the vanilla, kind of a peach cobblery thing. So this got 3 pieces of split. The plums got 1. Also, because peach cobbler, I'm going to use a piece of cinnamon stick for my peaches. I'm just going to break off a little piece. Half a cinnamon stick right in there. And for the plums, to give it a bright flavor, add a little something to it, I'm going to put in some dried orange zest. couple of pieces right there in the top. Not too much because I don't want to change the flavor of the fruit, but a couple of pieces in. And this is how we add the flavors to our syrups. Now, technically, if I was making the same flavors, you could add your split, your cinnamon, whatever, to your syrup directly so that it's cooking while your sugar is dissolving. But because they're two different ones, I'm adding them directly to the jar. All right, our syrup is ready to be ladled in. Do you have a funnel? Perfect. You can put on, it helps with the cleanup process. You don't have a funnel? Perfect. You can just ladle into your jar, because regardless of how it gets into the jar, we're going to clean our rim with our distilled vinegar to make sure we don't have any particles. That's why you're wiping with the vinegar. We're cleaning. We don't want any sugar, any sticky stuff in between where your seal is going to meet your jar, okay? Get your syrup in the jar. Okay, putting your syrup in. How much liquid do I need to put in there? Can I bring it all the way up to the top? So normally for my fruits and syrup, I use the 1/4-inch headspace, which would be this first line on your ring of your jar. You're gonna fill your liquid up to that point. Now, why don't we fill it up past there? Siphoning. So when we go to process this and it gets to boiling, you don't want so much of this liquid to be boiling up that it lifts your lid and starts to come out. Another thing for my more experienced canners, a bubbler. And a bubbler is just to take air pockets out when your fruit is packed tight. You want to make sure all that liquid has gotten through your jar. You may see the fancy ones. I have a bubbler around here somewhere. I couldn't find it. One of my favorite things is the aluminum chopsticks, the long ones. You stick them down on the sides to make sure, and you'll see your air bubbles coming up, to make sure all the air, and we have our syrup all the way down and around our fruit. You have your fruit canned up. Are you telling me you're going to pull out that water bath canner for these 2 jars? I absolutely am not. This is one of the things about having our stock pots. So, processing 2 jars in a stock pot, if it is tall enough to cover the top of your jar. This one isn't. I got another one. I was hoping this one would do it. So I don't have to pull out the huge water bath canner in order to do my jars. You just need your stock pot that covers the top of your jars. Let's say you're not ready to water bath can. You got these 2 because you needed to make space in the refrigerator. You can throw this in the refrigerator 3-4 days until you have enough single products to process at one time. If you don't want to make them shelf stable, let them marinate for about a week. Good to eat, okay? But you know, we're trying to put stuff on the shelf. So no, I didn't have to pull out the big water bath canner. I can just put it in the stock pot. Sometimes when we're making the syrups for our fruit, you will have leftover syrup because the volume of your fruit may be different, that type of thing. Are we throwing it out? You know better. You know better. We are non-wasteful. I'm gonna put this syrup right in the syrup bottle and add it to the drink bar for cocktails and add-ins. We're never going to waste. Okay, this should make you feel a little more secure about starting to do some canning. Simple fruit canning, not too much. I believe in you, neighbor. You can do this. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you.